In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create this animation by Zack D Films. I've been getting a lot of requests on how to make this, and I'm going to show you how to do it. To start creating something like this, we are going to need the character. In the previous video, I'm going to leave the link above. I talked about using the human gen creator. Here, I'll go and open up my human gen and then look for a character that we're going to use for this. Click on generate new human. All right, so then we can add the clothing to it. From that video, you can see that the character was wearing shorts. Something like this could work. All right, let's delete this default cube. You can also see that it's in a position where one leg is in front of the other. So still in that human generator, we can switch it to pose mode. So we can take one of these walking pose and use them. All right, so we have selected the walking pose. For the character part, we are more or less done placing our character in the scene. Also, in the human generator, we can change the color. Color of the one in the video was more or less white. So now we are going to select the character and we want to add that injury to the character's body. Now to create the injury, we are going to select the body, go into edit and first create shape keys. Go to your data, create two shape keys. So one will be for the wound close and for the wound open. Okay, so we have created those two shape keys and we want to go for the one open. Then press tab to enter edit mode. Now we're going to select the area where we want the injury and select these couple faces. Press V or go to vertex and press rip vertices. Now we have ripped those vertices. We're going to slide them. Just move them apart. So remember, we are on the shape key open. So anything we are editing here is affecting the shape key for the open position. All right, so something like this is okay. Now we are going to select those edges. Hold Alt and select them. And we want to extrude them along, that's X location, inward. After doing that, you can press F to fill the end. Okay, then so we have created depth into this injury. Now we can select these inner faces, hold Alt and select close to this line. Let me change it to face select. Select close to this line, the other one. All right, and then shift select this. Go to materials. We're going to create a new material for that. So create new. You can even call this wound or something. And then we can change the material to the red like material. You know, we are going to add like a fleshy material to make it look like an injury. So for now, let's just use a red color and press assign. So we have the inside of it looking red like an open wound. All right, so if we go back to object mode now, we can see the power of shape keys. You can already see that line through the skin where it looks like there was a scar created. Now, if we go into this data, go to the open that we created, the value, if you play with that, you can animate the injury opening and closing. So this is very cool. So this is what we are going to animate to create that open and close injury. And the good thing is that it already looks like there's a scar when it closes because of the lapping textures. So another thing was that when I was adjusting these textures, you can come here. If you notice your textures are deforming or stretching, you can come here and click on correct face attributes. So when you are moving this mesh apart, the textures will not deform close to the injury. Well, we still got a good result, so we'll continue like that. Now, we want to go into the object mode. So let's move that shape key value to the open position. So to create that stitch, we are going to put the value of the open shape key. We're going to put in that open position by changing the value to 1. Now we are going to add a curve object. So the curve object we are going to use is this spirals, but you won't see it in your own. So to see that, you go to edit preferences, add-ons, and then search for extra, or go to get extensions, search for extra curves. So you see extra curve objects, then install it. When you install the extra curve objects, then you can now go to your add-ons, extra curve objects, and enable it if it's not enabled. All right, so after doing that, you'll be able to see these extra curve options. So we'll go to spirals, then Archimedean. Now we'll go to our curve spirals, the settings, and we can increase the number of steps and number of turns. Let me just take this here and increase the height. We can increase the height of this. Okay, we want them spaced out like that. And the steps are the number of like subdivisions that this curve has. It's good to have a good number of steps. That will determine how smooth the animation will be when you animate the curve. But I will show you that in a minute. So let's increase the number of steps a bit. Doesn't need to be too much and not too small. Now let me scale down this curve object. All right. So we are going to position this here. Scale it down together like this. Now if we go into edit mode, we can select this one and extrude it. And come down here, look for the last one and extrude it outward. Now, if you see that your curve is not perfectly aligning with the body of the wound, because it's not like a flat object, you can just go into your proportional editing, select this, select a part of the curve that's not aligning properly, and move it. And as we are moving it, you can use this size of the proportional editing. Scroll your middle mouse to adjust. Okay, that's looking good. And then we can shift this down part to inward. Proportional editing, move that, move it into the injury. Okay, I think that looks good enough. Now for this end, to make the animation smooth here, we're going to subdivide this. So subdivide it, increase the number of cuts. Come here, select these two ends, subdivide it, increase the number of cuts. All right, looking good. Okay, so we're going to go into our curve settings, geometry, and then for the depth, we're going to add to it. Now you can see that our stitch has depth. Next thing is to animate this. So these are factor stat. If we move this slider, you can see it starts animating the curve. And then if we move the end, it starts animating it all the way from the top downwards. So we can also add a material for this. In the video, we can see that they use a white material for their own. So before that, let us animate the shape key for this thread. To do that, we'll select it under curve. Under your curve data, if you go down, you can see the shape keys for curve. So we'll create 2 shape keys. And then this second key, okay, I didn't do it in edit mode the last time, so I had an issue. So we're going to scale this down in edit mode for the shape key to be affected. So back to our object mode, select this body and change the value to 0. So now we select this, go into edit mode and then scale it. All right, so don't forget to be in edit mode when you are adjusting this. So now if we go back to object mode, nice. If we go back to object mode, we can now move those shape keys and have this animated. All right, back to this, select the body and increase this back to 0. So let's create this animation. Let me go to the 20th frame. Keyframe this value of the wound open and then move to about 40 to frame 40 and keyframe the wound closed. I'll take a look at that animation again.
Hold the edges together, the wound becomes inflamed. The tissues and collagen vessel wound will stitches are nourish these develop as your wound closed and pulls it tight
so
as
the
stitches
them close to each other. All right, so bring it very close to each other and add a keyframe. So now if we play this, we have the wound closing up. Now we're going to do the same thing for this stitch. Go into the data for the key. Place a value on 20. Move to 40. And then increase it. And place another keyframe. So if we play this, that's what we get. We get the stitches closing up. Perfect. Okay, so now your question is, how do we animate this stitch forming? Very easy. Select the stitch. Under the data, go here to start and end mapping. So since it started from the top, we're going to animate this the factor for the start. All right. So put a keyframe here, and at frame 20, before it starts moving down, let me just put it on like frame 18. Animate this factor for the stitch to have formed. And press your keyframe. We press play now, you can see the stitch forming and then the wound closing up. So that's how the animation was created. So we have the stitch animated. What other part of this do we want? Okay, let's say you want the injury, the sides to swell up. If you want the injury sides to swell up, just go here. We're going to use another shape key for that. Go to the sides of the injury, these faces. Let's create a new shape key first. Object mode. We're going to create 2 new shape keys. Swell. Let's put like S down and let me call it S up. Swell down and swell up. So for the S up, you go into edit mode. You want to select the faces around where the injury is and subdivide them. So that's a couple of faces. Hold Shift Select and then let's move these areas up. Yeah. And do it for the other side. Then remove these parts out. Not too much. Okay. Object mode. Now, if we go to S up and increase that, we have it swelling. All right. Looking good. So we can also edit this swelling part of it. You can animate that. Let me keyframe this value of it at 0. Then go forward a few frames and keyframe the value there. Now, if the swelling is not enough, you can increase this maximum range and increase the value, and it will allow you to increase how much the swelling is. Just increase the maximum range, increase that, and add your keyframe. So now you can see our swelling is working. So far, we're able to create the stitch, the wound closing, and then the swelling happening. All right, so if you are with me up to this point of this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Okay, for the red spots, we'll select the body of the object, go into our shader editor. Now we want to add a shader that we're going to paint on this already existing material. So let's just press Shift A, add a new shader. No, not that, sorry. Texture. So we can add an image texture, and then we are going for a color. We want to mix the color. Okay, so you take this, your mix color, take the color from this, take the color from the base, and put it down into the base color. Okay, so we are then going to create a new, and you can call this redness. Turn on alpha. Okay, and press new image. Now with our node wrangler, we can press Ctrl T to add the mapping to the UV. Okay, now we can pull the alpha from here into the factor. Now select this, go into your texture paint mode, and then change this color to a red color. We're not seeing anything, so let's take that factor off. You can see that we're actually painting on this texture, but for some reason this alpha is not working properly. Okay, so what we can do here is, let me increase the value of this to a lighter red. We can add a color ramp. Okay, and take this color into the factor, which is going to make it black and white. Now we'll take the result of this color ramp and take it into the factor. Now we have this. So the next thing is to adjust this color ramp. Okay, so then we adjust this. Raise the brightness of this red that we're painting with. All right, better. Now we have it working. And we can adjust this. So I don't know why it keeps having this issue, but that's how it works. The normal alpha, I don't know why it's not working properly. Maybe it is a bug. I'm using 4.3.1. So to get ahead of this, you have to use a color ramp, take the color into the factor, and then use that color to separate it, then adjust these values here. So from the injury, you could see that they painted. Now you can paint this with a texture. You don't need to paint it with this base color I'm using here. You can actually use a texture to paint it. Come to paint soft, reduce the radius of this paintbrush, and you know, when you're making this, just do it to look good. Paint it to look nice, like an actual injury that has some redness in some areas. All right. Let me quickly move on from here. And you know, we can change the color of each of these. We can add another color, and let me not go into all those details here. Now we have the redness, and you can see that the redness was animated in. I even overdid this. It wasn't on some edges. Just paint and eraser, and then let's erase some of these ones. Okay, so if we animate this, the value for this, move this to one side. Animate the value for this, we can take it to 0 and the redness will disappear. And animate it back towards this side and the redness appears. So just when it starts swelling, we want to animate this. You can open 2 tabs. You can open both the material and the shader editor so you can see what you're doing. Well, for this position, I'm going to move this to where it's no longer, the redness is no longer visible here, and press I on this position. Go into my timeline and move to where the injury is fully swollen. Go to my shader editor and then move this backward to where it's visible. Press I to add another keyframe. So replay this and see it slowly get red. Okay, so this object, we are going to animate it coming outward. After it heals, then we have that object go. After it's swelling, we have the object start coming in. So you can move this backward to where it's not visible. Frame its location. and then move some few frames and keyframe it where it's now visible. Okay, so for that, can add a material to it and give it that yellow looking strange material. Shade this smooth. When it gets here, we have the yellow part come out. All right, so just by animating that object that we created, you can have the pause part of it coming out. And then, so I think the last thing that was created there was these vine-like structures. All right, a quick way to create those vine-like structures would be to use the IV generator. So if you go to your edit preferences, get extensions, search for IV gen, install that, add-ons, IV gen, enable it. Now we are going to generate an IV. So let me add a plane. Okay. So normally your IVs are created from the point where you place your 3D cursor. So select this 3D cursor object and place it on this plane. Now let's generate an IV. Look for create, IV generator, and then add new IV. All right, so we have this IV that was grown out from here. Now we don't want it to come in with leaves. So uncheck grow leaves, and if you click on this update IV gen, you can see that the leaves are off. Okay, so then we have size. We can reduce the branch size. Let's just work with this. So select this IV that we created. Let's do this plane. Select the IV we created. I want to place it on the injury. Let me scale it down. Grab it. Place it where the injury is. Now the good thing about this IV, you can already see it's like a vein-like structure. If we go into the curve object, we can actually animate it using the factor start and factor end. So we can use that to animate the growth of the IV. So that's what will create those vein-like growth effect. So now the next thing is to deform this to follow that shape. We go here, use our proportional editing, and then just drag this to align with the surface. So this will give us a much better and quicker result. We can just select these areas, grab them, move them using proportional editing, position them the way we want. All right, let me just select close to and change circle select and just select these vertices that are important here, and then delete the rest. All right, so to our curve, we can adjust the start and end mapping to create those vessels. All right, or better still, but I just wanted to show you, you can actually just draw these curves. You can draw them there and animate all of them for me. Because if we came here now, let's say we added a curve object. Okay, let's say we added this curve object into the scene. We could just go into edit mode, select everything, delete it, and in that curve we could have just come here, select the draw tool and put it on surface and draw the veins. Okay, and then if we went to our curve, we can give all of them a depth. It's a much quicker and more precise way of doing it. Can give all of them depth, and after giving them depth, we can animate their factor start and end. Using this method, you don't need to go through those IV gen and all those stuff. You just draw it on the surface. Let's fill caps for that. Those wound material. And then anytime we can always press tab inside, take our pencil and then just draw on the surface, draw a vein, and we have it formed inside as part of this. So that's like the quickest way to do those blood vessels that are forming on the surface. And then same thing, you do your, now animate the factor start and factor end. So both ways work. You could use this method of drawing the curve, or you could do like the one I did with the IV generator to generate and then position it there and animate it. So any method you choose, you just come here, and after this is formed, you animate your end position. So select this and go forward and put that, and we have the veins forming. Okay, so that's how those veins are forming. I didn't take time to, position them properly and do them well, but you get the idea already. Now, I think, what was the last part? We have the body coming out and then the veins forming. And then everything goes back to normal. So same procedure, you just will get rid of all these effects now that you have created. For the veins, after some frames, go to the material, select this for the alpha, and keyframe it to 0. All right, so you can use that to make it disappear. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is like you can add a shader to it. You can go into it, go to your shader editor, and add a transparent shader. You can do this, mix shaders, add transparent SDF, put that there. So you see that if we take our factor to the transparent shader, everything disappears. And if we take it back, we have everything appear. Then you keyframe this factor and you have it appear and disappear. So that's another way to do it. Any way you choose, they both work. So let me delete this, and then, okay, say this yellow color. Normally we'll do it to the materials, but since I'm doing it with the color, I can do it at the yellow color. At this point where this disappears, it changes color. So you can keyframe the color and move forward, and then change this color to go towards the red. All right, and then keyframe that. So we'll have it change color to the red. All right, then everything slowly blends out. This went off. So we had this initial redness color of the screen. Let's go to the shader editor. I'm going to keyframe this position, I to keyframe, timeline, move ahead a bit, and then shader editor, and then we're going to move this closer. Okay, and then hit our keyframe for that. So now we have the keyframe of that going off, and then we want this keyframe for this to go to that material texture. You can even do it to dissolve any of them. Let me see if I get rid of that cylinder. All right, so we can even do this to dissolve, but let's still use that. When this color is changing, its color should also change. So we select the cylinder, keyframe the color, And then when that redness disappears, we're going to change this color, take this and select that color and hit your keyframe. So we have them blend into the same color. Perfect. All right, now for this stitch that's remaining, same thing. We're going to do that alpha, select it, go to this material and go to the alpha, keyframe that, move some few frames, and then take the alpha to nothing and then keyframe that. All right, perfect. So if we play this and open wound, then the stitches, they come in, close the wound just like in the video, swells up, turns reddish, pus comes out, you have the veins appear, then it goes back to normal. The veins grow out, slowly disappear, stitch disappears, and it goes back to normal. I think the swelling went down, so we can even just shape key the swelling. Go UV up and down, swelling up and down. In here, take the value of the swelling and take that to nothing. Or let's leave it a bit raised because the injury will not heal. The scar tissue will still be swollen a bit. So, and then this swelling goes down. For this, you can also, if it's coming out too much, when the swelling is reducing, you can also keyframe its location and then keyframe its position inward. All right, there you have it. We have perfect wound animation. All right, so this video, something like this, I bet you won't see it anywhere. You won't see it anywhere, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment if there's any of the videos that you want me to recreate and show you how it was done, and I will do that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. So all that is left is for me to render out the animation and do the camera movement. Okay, so this is just a speed run of me setting up the camera for the animation. So since it's going to be for YouTube shot, I'm going to put it at 180 by 1920. And then, so creating the background, I added two materials and linked them to a mix shader, added the gradient texture, changed it to spherical, and then linked it up to the object's coordinates, and then use a value for the scale so I can adjust the position of this by adjusting this value. Okay, so that's for the background. I use an HDRI for the environment, and there we have it. All we have to do now is set the camera to the positions that we want for the animation. Keyframe camera location. Camera zooms into the wound. So we have it zooming on the leg. Use the pause and zooms out. Okay, then you can just use this camera shakeify add-on. Add some camera shake. It's too much, so reduce the influence. So this will add some subtle camera shakes while it's displaying it. So we can always take time to get a good result out of this. This is just for demonstration purposes. So I'll go ahead and render this out and include it at the end of the video.